design work and editorial work are extremely similar. It's just the manner we do architecture. And it's also the only manner that I think allows you to talk about architecture. This is another thing that has always been very clear in classicist approach to architecture, that you need to be able to talk about forms. If you try to do an architecture that you think you should be able to explain, then it's also easier to explain it, how to do it to students. Although, again, I know there are other possible ways of approaching the profession in general. Well, the idea of images being more important than the text, actually, it's also a bit of a joke, because the magazine is very much written. And somehow, for all the people who do the magazine, there's a secret fascination for painting. And we, in a way, would like to go back to architecture being very close to painting and much less close to literature, and much being just content with being architecture itself, and not trying to tell stories, narrate whatsoever. Attributing cultural relevance to buildings for what they are as buildings, as something that occupies a certain space, creates certain relations that are spatial relation, and that doesn't really have so much to do with communication, message. Of course, I cannot say architecture is 100% not a media, but if it is a media, it is just in an incredibly clumsy way, and compared to contemporary medias, it's so inefficient. It's not interesting as a media, architecture. If it's interesting, it's because it's not media. We are interested into this thing, this relatively boring, relatively slow, blah, blah, blah. And if there's some interest, it's because it's slow. It's not in trying to make it fast or quick. It will not happen. And by the way, modern architects tried for the last 150 years and it didn't work out, so maybe we just stop it. The only possible way to approach rationally architecture that is different from construction or engineering architecture, something that is busy with the space and perception of space, is by observing our previous experience of space and criticizing it. Everything that has been made is the subject of a possible understanding, learning, and critique. This is the extremely extended way in which we use architecture of the past in that context. I think with respect to the pictures, we just decided that the building is a box and we can put pictures on the outside. Then the messages and the content, let's say, of this picture was entirely up to a specific commission of historians who decided that. What we decided was that we wanted to make a building that would force the city hall to create the committee and then the committee to pick this thing. But what were the particular images? That was really not our decision. Contemporary architecture operates in a context where there are different contemporary medias. And these medias are extremely interesting, and they also can do certain things way better than architecture can do. I mean, there's this famous thing by Victor Hugo in Notre Dame de Paris, and a character looks at the book and at the facade of Notre Dame and says, "Ceci tuera cela," like this will kill this other. I don't think it's true. I think you do something with books, something with tweets, something with TV, and something with architecture. And they have different field of operation, and I think it will be more and more crucial for architecture to learn how to coexist in a media space with other media.